think fast. Stop using the word matrix, as much as possible. And as I say that, to each his own. It's a free will universe. The reason why I'm saying this, I caught a inside download, excuse me, from I was running it with somebody, and they brought up, they tapped in and they brought up that vibe, on some, you know, like speaking on the magic of that word and how, basically they put some kind of magic on the word matrix, and that's why they kind of promote it in that sense, is because they put some type of magic on the word that as you say it, it makes you more and more confused about what this realm really is. And it makes sense when I thought about it, because I'm like, yeah, the more we do use that terminology, I do feel like it just becomes more of a rabbit hole in essence of like, like of not knowing what's going on. The more you be like this matrix. So again, be aware, whether you want to say dream world, a temporary world, fake world, you know, which it is fake, what I'm saying? This is a temporary, fake world, it's just like playing San Andreas, that game or that realm only exists when you turn your console on. What I'm saying? When you turn your PlayStation on, then San Andreas exists, but as soon as you turn your PlayStation off, San Andreas don't exist. Now it could exist, and even in like your thoughts and vibes of that nature, this game, but even then, it's still temporary, you know. And that's what this realm. This is a temporary dream realm. Again, a game realm, however you want to slice it, whatever's best for you know, your subconscious and articulating it. Because I know that some of us are programmed to put certain words. Like even though we're learning to not, deal with things as looking at it as good or bad or right or wrong, it's still some words that that within our subconscious programming, some words still carry like a right or wrong, good or bad energy. Just like if I say this realm is like jail, some people gonna be like, oh no, I mean, but when I think about jail, I don't think of it as a good or a bad thing. It's a part of the experience, Somebody that went to jail come out, and be like, oh man, that was the best, days of my life, bro, because that shit taught me how to fucking, do this or do that, you know what I'm saying? Or some people would be like, oh, jail was fucked up, man, this and that. But that's all perception. The same thing with this place, you know what I'm saying? Whether game, jail, whatever, but, just stay away from, you might want to stay away from using the word matrix, because again, that's like, and that's the whole magic behind things, like if I create a word, and I put some magic on it, you know what I'm saying? That is a thing, and that's the level of sorcery we're dealing with, So just be aware of that. And also just speaking of the aspect of like the movie Matrix, speaking of the movie, this place is basically, just numbers, what I'm saying? I think about to the part on the Matrix where Neo, on the first one, where he was looking at, like when they're unplugged from the Matrix, they're in that, in the real world, and some of them were good at like reading the Matrix, like on the TV screen, it would just be nothing but falling numbers, but it's basically like, the picture of the Matrix, because again, Neo was passing. We'll wait. Neo was passing by one of the screens, and he was like, how do you read that? He's like, all I see is numbers, and then the guy who read it, matter of fact, the guy who sold out for the steak, you know what I'm saying? he was like, oh, you don't see nothing but numbers, but I see a fine blind at 10 o'clock, you know what I'm saying? Like basically, he see a blind woman walking down the street, you know what I'm saying, in the sense of, seeing what's going on in the Matrix, even though it was just numbers that he was seeing on the screen, he knew how to decode those numbers and read what it was really saying, And I think about like how, I thought about how a text message or anything we do is all numbers. Like realizing like a whole book, like a book that could be 1,000 pages, all all translate to one number. Because every word, has a value, and when you put those values together, it how can I say it brings that value into one number. So say, if, for instance, if I say, you know, or just this whole video, everything I've been saying in this video, if I take the values of those words and I always forget, what's the mathematical name, reduce it in essence, but bring it down, it'll basically be one number. So you realize that you could have a whole text conversation, back and forth, but at the end of the day, that whole conversation reduces into one number value. You know what I'm saying? So as much as you say, oh yeah, this and that happened, or that and that happened, and, oh, I've been meditating, I've been doing this, or blessings, beloved, whatever you're saying, within your text messages, it all turns out to one value. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it all goes back into the 9, or more so 9 going back into itself, or allowing for a number to go back into itself, because 1 plus 9 equals 1, in the sense of, 1 plus 9 is 10, but 10 is 1, because 0 through 9 is the only numbers that exist. Everything else is just an extension created, because again, everything after 9 still goes back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, because 10 is 1, 11 is 2, 12 is 3, and so on. But, again, want to stay away from using the terminology matrix as much as possible. Again, just a little download and insight, not say an internal download, but insight from, from a very connected being, you know what I'm saying? On just that whole aspect, and again, that aspect too, the importance of gematria and breaking everything down into numbers, again, every word, everything breaks down to a number. You're dealing with astrology, the word Saturn, the word Capricorn, you break down those letters, it only come down to one value. You have all those words, Capricorn, Aries, all this, it breaks down to a number value, and then you add those together and that breaks down into one number value. Well, it just all breaks down to one number. And then if you take everything, like the word lifeguard, watch out, beach, California, Venice Beach, you know what I'm saying? You take all those words, it's still going to amount to one value, everything reduces to one value. You just see that this really is the one verse, or the universe, that one song, that, that one vibration in essence, that have different musical notes within it, you know what I'm saying? But it's one song. But that's basically it. You might want to stay away from that aspect, and again, with that awareness, knowing that you could do the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could charge up certain words, for ourselves, like using a certain word, dealing with, helping us to awaken and grow spiritually, you know what I'm saying? And we put some magic on it, so every time somebody uses that word, it amplifies, the alignment, amplifies the alignment with higher self. As a matter of fact, as I say that, we are higher self. You get lost in the sauce if you keep externalizing higher self as if it's something outside of you. You are higher self. It's just bringing, or how could I say, bringing more of that energy, or activating more of that energy within your bodysuit. So your higher self, aka you, is really, in control or in the driver's seat of your bodysuit. Your bodysuit is a vehicle. It's not us. Like, I am not Carl Ray. I am not universal frequencies. I am no thing on a human experience that's in a bodysuit. Within this experience, and happen to be called Carl Ray by the parents I picked, and going through this experience, always remembering that it's more than just being, and to each his own, you know, some people may feel like they're only a human and that's all that is for them, you know. But, again, knowing thyself, don't be listening to people and doubting your inner guidance just because of popular belief, because it's popular, because that's why Christianity promoted itself the way it is, because it's like if it becomes the most popular thing, then by default, people just going to go to, going with it. And the fact that they not only was promoting that religion and that aspect, but also, demoting or extinguishing the energy of true spirituality. So, disconnecting people from their inner intuition, you know, whether through trauma or through unhealthy aspects of living, you know what I'm saying? And telling a person to deal with Christianity and making it the most popular thing. So if you're a pioneer, if your inner guidance is weak and you got this religion being pushed on you and it seems like the most popular thing, and since you're not tapped into your inner guidance, you're like, shit, everybody around me doing this, so I might as well do it too, you know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, do what your inner guidance is telling you to do. Do what, the higher self that you are is, the vibe you feeling from your higher self, that, you know, that aspect of you that is that, that true essence, that infinite essence, But that's basically it. Peace, peace. Happy now, y'all. Not too far in the future. Not too far in the past. Right now. By that ocean. Peace, peace. Now is the only thing that exists.